those guys were older than 27. Most of them were 25 years old. Think
Right.
about this for a second. Most of these guys were 25 or 26 when I was 17, okay? You tell me how many unbelievably great rock musicians there are that are 25 years old right now. You're going to have to think long and hard. You're going to find tons of female pop artists, tons of hip-hop and rappers, tons of country artists. Name me any band that are 25 and younger who are blowing up the charts. That's the scary part.
Right.
It's the replenishment of the genre. It's an aging genre. And do I believe it can reinvent itself? I believe it is reinventing themselves. I think Imagine Dragon is part of the world that's reinventing it. You know, people say, oh, they don't like them, but you know, they're just they're another way of playing rock. You know,
Right.
I get it. But rock itself is an aging medium, and it hasn't replenished its ranks. And the kids aren't dreaming about being rock stars and playing air guitar and thinking of Jimi Hendrix and all that stuff like they were in my generation. So think about how lucky I was to be 17 years old, and all the artists that I went to see were no older than 25 or 26. 27 at the oldest.
Right.
When I was 17. Now we're playing around the world with, you know, with Whitesnake and Kiss and Motorhead and you know, or AC/DC or Judas Priest. And Def Leppard, and how old are we all?
Right.
55 to 60.
Right, exactly.
I mean, when I was 17, I never saw anybody. The only people who were 55 to 60 were like classical musicians.
Right.
There was no rockers. I would never go see a rocker who was 55 to 60 years old because there weren't any, and it didn't seem to me a possibility. Now, all the biggest arena rock acts that are still around, whether it's Springsteen or U2 or the Stones, are like 70 or 75. I don't even know how old the Stones are. They're the Flintstones. I don't know. We're all aging out. And what's going to happen when we all go? I mean, what will happen when the Twisted Sisters and the Whitesnakes and the Def Leppards and the Motorheads and the Sabbaths, you know, finally call it a day? Who's coming up and replacing us? I don't know the answer to that. So you got to go see it while you can. And with Twisted, it's especially apropos because, you know, we're playing out the shows this year, and 2016 is going to be, you know, it's going to be like the end.
Now, with your final run, I want to clarify something because some people were saying that your final run is a tour, and I believe that your final run is a string of dates. Is that correct?
Yeah, our final run is the way it always is.
Yeah, that's what I figured it was going to be.
However, I mean, we didn't say, what we said was that 2016 will mark the end of our touring career.
Right.
But we play shows. We play handfuls of shows every year.
Yes.
Do I imagine we'll play more than a handful in 2016? Absolutely. Do I know where they are? I have no idea. Do I know where the last one's going to be? No. Do I know when the last one's going to be? No. We're getting through this year because we have dates to get through and honor AJ.
Which
and next year, you know, after this year is over, in September, you know, there's the movies coming out in the fall. 3 CDs are being released of stuff going back to 1978, 1979, 1983 on Cleopatra Records. It's music from the bars on Long Island or in Westchester in the case of 1979, 1980.
Right.
And then the entire Donington show from 1983 is being released. And the movie's coming out. And then we have to sit down and we have to look and see where and what options are. I mean, we're getting offers from all over the world.
I would imagine.
They're coming in from everywhere. And, you know, we're going to have to sit there and go, well, how much can we stuff in a 1-year period? How are we going to do it? What's going to make the most sense?
Right.
So we're really kind of putting it together. So when I get these emails, hey, man, play some little town in California. Well, it's really nice. But, I mean, if a promoter wants to bring us out, fine. You know, hey, man, we want you in Australia. Good. Have a promoter bring us to Australia. But we're already getting calls from all over the world. Everybody wants shows during that last year, so we'll see how it feels.
Well, and what I loved about you guys is that since you've come back since New York Steel, which was my first Twisted Sister show ever, by the way, and I'll never, it's burned into my memory forever. But your business model of not spreading yourselves thin and, you know, playing Peoria, Illinois 5 times in 1 year, I love it. I think it's amazing because it keeps it fresh. It keeps the people interested. You know.
You mean our business model of as long as you don't play, you stay very popular?
Well,
the business model all that you're raving about?
Well, what I love about it is that, you know, you're not here every 5 minutes beating the same set to death. That's what I love, you know?
We don't play very often. So we play, I think, 20 shows a year for the first 5 years or 6 years, and then 15. And last year, I think we did 10. And this year, I think we're doing 8.
Right, and it makes it, to me, it makes it an event. You know, now, I'm actually glad it came this way because you have a show coming up in June at Starland Ballroom in memory of AJ, and you have Mike Portnoy doing the shows. Is Mike doing all the shows this year on drums?
Well, as far as I know, he is being able to fill in all shows. We just added a show September 12th that I'm not sure if Mike will be able to do that show, and probably Joe Franco will be playing it if Mike does not. And Mike didn't commit for next year, so it was just to get through these dates.
Right. That's...
He had an opening in his schedule, and he said, look, AJ replaced me, and we'll come in. But this date at the Starland is important. First of all, the Starland is a kind of an important room for us. It's kind of a room that we've tended to play a bunch of times to kind of get ready for the summer tour.
Right.
You know, to feel ourselves out. But this year it's going to have a special meaning because we're going to be playing with Mike Portnoy, and it's basically it's a benefit to the Pirro family.
Right.
And that's meaningful. That's extremely meaningful. So even though we're doing one show before that in Vegas, which is being filmed for a DVD,
right.
Then we're doing the show on June 13th at the Starland in Sayreville. We haven't yet figured out who else is on the bill, what other situations are going to arise, how many other drummers are going to play. I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
But, you know, we're looking forward to doing that show and to honor our drummer, who has been the heartbeat of this band.
That to me is so touching. I love the fact that you guys are doing this for his family and for the extended Twisted Sister family because, again, like I said, the fans that you have, especially in the tri-state area, feel like that they're a part of something that they grew up with you guys. You know, watching you come from the club, slugging it out, 3 sets every night, you know, breaking your butts to, you know, to get it up to that point to become megastars, and you're the same people that you were before you were megastars, and that's what makes it important to people. You know, they feel that.
There's a long and rich history in the tri-state area, and the club scene in the tri-state area was totally unique, unlike any other club scene anywhere else in the world, for that matter. It was thoroughly unique. It had the most people. The drinking age was 18. The clubs were massive. We came out of a scene that bands don't have the luxury of doing. I mean, when you have the luxury of playing 5 or 6 nights a week, you could really learn your craft. A lot of bands don't have that luxury now.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that you can't become good, but I will tell you that Twisted Sister's quality was forged in the fire of the club scene, and that's why we can play the way we play.
Right, and that's why your live act stands up. You can watch a Twisted Sister show from 30 years ago, and you can watch a Twisted Sister show today, and if you close your eyes, to me, you can't tell the difference musically, crowd raps, the whole bit. Everything is so on point, and you know.
Well, yes, and that's because we do something really weird. We actually play the songs that people want to hear. What a weird show.
Right.
The way they're on the record. Oh, what a weird concept. They actually play the songs the way you want to hear them, and they play the songs you want to hear. Wow, what a bizarre alien concept that is. Is that why we're so popular?
JJ, that's just crazy talk.
We actually play the 17 or 18 songs that the 99% of the people want to hear, and we don't, you know, if we said, here's the truth, if we said, well, tonight we're not going to play Can't Stop Rock and Roll, we're going to play a new song, and we actually put it to a vote, what do you think the vote would be?
Let me see. I think it would be 100% towards you have to play You Can't Stop Rock and Roll.
We're not going to play Burn in Hell. We're going to play a song we just wrote. What do you think the vote would be? And this is on and on and on and on. So it's not that the idea isn't that we don't like playing new stuff. It's just that the way the evolution of classic rock bands has happened.
Right.
People want those songs from the first 5 albums. That's just the way it is. So when you get these bands I won't name, we'll go out and play a whole new album. It's like nobody wants to listen to it. Or here's another famous problem. A classic band will make a new album, and they'll start their tour off with 5 songs from the album. After like 3 days, they realize that's not working. So now they're down to 4 songs. After 2 more shows, that's not working. Now they're down to 3 songs. By the end of the second week, they're down to 1 song. And usually they're just trying to get through that one song before they lose momentum in the audience. So that tends to be the problem. We don't play enough to overplay.
Right.
So when you see the band in Bulgaria or you in Slovenia or in Norway or in Sweden or in Spain, we're coming by once every 2 years, one time into that country, or the United States one time or 2 times, or Canada one time. You know, you give the people what they want. We give the people what they want, man. How did we learn that? We learned it in the bars.
Yeah, and that's